Hey guys, welcome back to part 3 of the Creating Characters series. So far, we have 6 characters that are taking part in our tournament, but today we will be expanding that greatly. Due to the fact that I thought that no one would see these videos, I went to a lot of people in my college, in my dorm and my classes, as well as my close family and friends, and got them to create characters. This is the full list of characters and powers that were created during those moments. I have 14 characters that were made in person, and I'm going to go through them in a rapid-fire fashion. First up is Quickfire, made by my twin brother, who is given the power of chronoelasticity, which basically means he can slow down time around himself so it looks to others like he's moving super fast. It's like super speed, but he doesn't have to make the split-second decisions. The wheel gave him the power of pyrokinesis, which, in my opinion, is a dangerous combo, and he also has no legendary weapon in exchange for having no weakness. The next character is Renegade, who is made by my dorm roommate Julian. He chose the power of invisibility, which is a classic and very useful in combat situations. The powers wheel gifted him the secondary of being able to shoot burning beams of light from his hands, and for legendary weapon, he was given the Redantium Falchion, which is one of the most powerful weapons on the wheel. As was mentioned in a previous episode, Redantium is a material made out of light that is only wieldable by a single person. It can be summoned from nothing and can be called back to the user on a whim. The Red Falchion, however, is wielded by the most powerful of the Raidens, which are the people who carry these weapons in my stories. I expect to see a lot out of this character. Before we continue, I just want to let you guys know, if you haven't figured it out already, that all of the legendary weapons are from various fiction projects that I'm working on. Stay tuned and I'll let you know when I have one published. The next character doesn't have a gladiator name, so he simply goes by his real name, Hunter Rashford. He was made by my younger brother Piggy, who may be appearing in some videos in the future. He chose to give his character the power of matter creation, which is a pretty good idea in my opinion. The Wheel of Powers decided that he should also have super strength. When it came to legendary weapon, he was given the Fury Stone, which, in my lore, allows him to make strong shockwaves when he punches the ground, and he gains a considerable amount of resistance to damage during combat. Overall, a solid character. The next character is Golden Rule, who was made by my great friend, the Geek State. He is an expert in canonicals, and I will be making a video in the future where the two of us analyze the characters created during this series. He chose to give his character the power of ultimate regeneration, similar to Wolverine and on par with the character already created in the series named the Crypt Keeper. When it came to secondary power, the wheel decided that he should have the ability to create solid objects from light, and he chose to have no weapon in exchange for no weakness. Super regeneration is one of the craziest powers I have heard suggested during this series, and I think this character could go all the way. Next up, we have Jimmy, who was created by a friend of mine named Isaac. For his character's power, he chose the ability of Flight, which is simple but effective, giving the tactical advantage of permanent high ground. The wheel gave him a secondary power of Sonic Waves, being able to coalesce sound and energy and blast it at his opponents. What was funny is that its legendary weapon was Wilbur's guitar, which also has the ability to shoot Sonic Waves. This results in a double power, so he ends up being twice as powerful. Also, he doesn't need the guitar to shoot the Sonic Waves if he is disarmed. This character has a fun personality, and I'm interested to see how he does. The next creator was the Dodgy Tenant, whose character Luna has the ability of matter creation, similar to Hunter Rashford. They chose to have no secondary power in exchange for having no weakness, and for legendary weapon, they received the Moonstone, which gives the wielder strength at night and the ability to shoot purple beams of light from their hands. After the Dodgy Tenant, we had the Shady Landlord, who created their character named Young Diesel to have the ability of mastery of every martial art. Now this seems like a good power in theory, but I believe that compared to the other more ethereal superpowers, this one may be lacking in explosiveness. For his secondary power, he received microwaves, basically being able to shoot waves of heat out of his body. Instead of a legendary weapon, he chose to have a third small power, regeneration. This character may seem at a disadvantage, but we will never know until the fight how he stacks up to the others. The next gladiator was created in a bit of a joking manner, introducing Rick the Ricker, whose main superpower is that he becomes stronger the higher his blood alcohol content is. Basically, he's like the Hulk, but intoxicated. His secondary power is hydrokinesis, or being able to control water, which in essence allows him to consume hard beverages at an astonishing rate. He has a minor power of getting stronger the more he gets hurt, so that just adds to his crazy strength. This character is definitely going to provide comic relief, but may be an unpredictable dark horse in the tournament. The next creator is a friend of mine named Luke, who decided that his character's main power would be magnetism, that is, being able to attract or repel magnetic objects. For secondary power, the wheel gifted him microwaves, and for legendary weapon, he received the Sunstone. This is arguably the most powerful of the stones, imbuing the wielder with the abilities to shoot beams of light from their hands and be able to make their whole body glow so brightly that they blind the opponent. I really like this character because he has an interesting set of skills, and we could probably expect him to make it to the later rounds. The next character's name is Timothy, created by a friend of mine named Timothy. As his main power, he chose aerokinesis, or airbending. This also allows him to fly. As a secondary power, he was given temporary insubstantiality, which in my opinion creates one of the most unpredictable combos in the tournament. Instead of a legendary weapon, he chose a minor power, regeneration. This is one of my personal favorite characters, but might not be the strongest when compared to some of the others. Next, we have Aethera, created by a classmate of mine named Kane. This character's main power is shapeshifting into any non-living object. This character has no legendary weapon and no weakness, but for secondary power, she was gifted temporary insubstantiality. This character is sly and tricky, and I'm interested to see how she'll do against the other gladiators. With just 3 characters to go, we have Nightlight, a character created by my mother, whose main power is teleportation. The wheels were favorable with her, giving her the secondary power of being able to shoot beams of light out of her hands. As for legendary weapon, Nightlight received the, mess 'em up gun, which is basically a gun that can instantly modify itself into any form the user desires. The penultimate character is called Ranger, created by my father. His main power is similar to insubstantiality, also called permeation. Basically, he can turn himself into jello-like substance, and even if he gets blown apart, he can put himself back together. He has no time limit on how long he can stay as that substance, so that makes him unpredictable in battle. As a secondary power, he was given electrokinesis, the ability to manipulate lightning and electricity, and as a legendary weapon, he received the Rodantium Scythes, a pair of ice blue reaper weapons made out of light. This character is armed, dangerous, and unafraid, and I believe he can make a deep run into the tournament. And last, but definitely not least, we have Vigilos the Wanderer, created by my good friend and fellow YouTuber Cypress. For his main power, he chose the ability to shapeshift into any living thing, and he was yet another character that received temporary insubstantiality as its secondary power. The legendary weapon he received was the Alitech Classic Cannoneer Mech Suit, which is basically just a suit of armor that has guns galore hiding in it. In my opinion, this is one of the top 5 characters in the tournament so far, but let me know down in the comments which ones are your favorites. So that's it for the character creation portion of this video. For all the people who are not writing nerds, you can go ahead and like, subscribe, and go watch one of my other videos. As for the human beings, here's my thought process for what I'm going to do with this series. I've started looking into various AI writers to assist me in working on this. Now, obviously I want to write this all myself, but I don't really have time when I'm working on my other projects. I've decided for now that I will use Novel AI to write certain sections, and I will pitch in if I feel like I need to add some flavor. Now obviously AI can get a little carried away with itself, and for that reason I will be watching the entire time to make sure it stays canon to the lore of these characters and the powers and weapons they wield. If you have any other ideas, go down to the comments and suggest. I'm all ears about this. And big announcement, deadline for character creation for Season 1 will be January 31st. In other words, you will be able to comment on my original video linked in the description for about 3 more weeks before I start working on this project. If you want to create a character, just click on the link in the description before January 31st, watch the video, and comment. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, subscribe, and see ya!